r/askreddit. What was the please stop school presentation that you witnessed? Was in a video filmmaking class in high school. One group of guys did a parody of those Gatorade commercials where the athlete's sweat is colored like Gatorade, but it was a sweaty guy jerking off. Apparently there was a Gatorade cum shot, but the teacher just turned that shit off immediately before it got that far. Presentation on World War II. Student had just discovered all the neat transitions you can use between slides and decided to use a different one each slide. They used the flashing heart transition between a photo slide of a mass grave and a photo slide of Hitler. Not a literal presentation really, but we had an assembly in high school where the students that helped plan homecoming would announce the nominations for homecoming court. It always had a cute little theme and like a short skit involved. Well, at one point the audio they were using as the cue for the skit failed. They just kind of paused for technical difficulties, but this one girl from the planning committee started singing a random Disney song a cappella while improvising a dance to go along with it. I guess as a distraction from them trying to fix the audio, she kept trying to get people to join in with her, but nobody did, and she eventually late to this but grade 12 advanced placement English. We were assigned books then had to do a presentation on a topic somehow related to it. The book I was assigned was The Stranger by Camus, so I presented on existentialism in literature. One girl was assigned Animal Farm. She started her presentation on kinds of tractors used in farming. She hadn't read the book and assumed it was about actual animal husbandry. It was a very long presentation. The teacher had to actually hide her face. Once in college I was in my Spanish class and our desks were in a U shape. I was on the very end of the U. So some guy is giving a presentation. He is standing behind a podium. Gets a boner. I'm on the side and no one is opposite so I can see it. Dude just kept going on and on and on. I think he was trying to outlast the boner. He ended up getting it down before he had to sit down. Was like a 10 minutes presentation that only needed to be like 3 minutes. Oh. Edit. Presentation was in Spanish too. For a public speaking class in college, we had to give a persuasive speech. One kid did his speech about porn. If he had had a legitimate argument, like sex work is real work, or porn has a negative effect on a person's self-image, the speech would have been fine. We were all mature adults, but all he did was list the different kinds of porn he liked, in detail, with visual aids. The professor stopped him after a few minutes, and asked him to explain what he wanted to persuade the audience about. He answered, "Porn is good." In history class, we all had to do a presentation about some sort of injustice in the world. One kid chose a prison camp for his topic. All his PowerPoint slides were photos of men being stripped, chained, whipped, sodomized, and forced to give blowjobs. We were 13. Edit. Yes, his project was about Abu Ghraib. Back in 2008, when my class did a pen test on a local bank, our professor went to the CEO and asked for permission first, detailed everything we even might try. The CEO said go for it, written permission with detailed explanations of everything we might do. Dumpster diving netted us bunches of unshredded documents with account numbers, usernames, social security numbers, and contact information, addresses, emails, and phone numbers. We then created an email to go spiffishing telling the bank's customers to log into their accounts with a link in the email which led to a website we created that looked like the bank's website and had a similar, but wrong, URL that logged their passwords and then passed that information to the actual bank's website and logged them in and handed them off. We also went to the public library and looked up local clients' mother's maiden name, date of birth, county of birth and full name, which we could have then stolen their identities with. The look of sheer horror on the CEO's face when we presented our report. I felt bad for him. He went into that meeting expecting us to say we couldn't get anything because he had been watching for us to social engineer our way into the bank and had pictures of everyone in the class. When none of us went into the bank, he assumed he was golden. I am told that some stern words were had over shredding sensitive documents. No exceptions, and they had to send out an email telling people to change their passwords because their accounts might be compromised. Nary a single law broken. We had permission. Not at school, but when I was in high school, my church youth group went to this church camp. For those uninitiated, Thursday nights are normally the really emotional nights. Well, this camp was different. Thursday night, the guy that started the camp comes on stage and begins giving a bunch of middle school and high school boys and girls the sex talk. All I remember from that night was the quote, "Just because there's a hole there doesn't mean you have to stick something in it." In Speech 101 in college, we had to pick a children's book and voice act each character. That was it. That was the entire assignment. Well, one student decided to take it to the next level. He chose a Berenstain Bear book and decided to not only do voice acting for every single one of the characters, but also act it out. It was physically uncomfortable to watch this guy scramble around the room and pretend to be bears and other animals. It was not well done. It was awful. An anti-bullying campaign. They spent most of the presentation explaining different types and ways to harass people. Bullying increased in school and everything got 10 times worse now that the students were more educated on the subject. It's me. I did this. I cringe about it to this day, nearly 20 years later. I was 16 and in high school. My high school was going to do a spring talent show. I wanted to be in the talent show and show off my talents. The problem was, my actual talents are not ones that I could show off at a talent show. So I decided to try singing. I have never sung in my life. I have never had voice lessons. I was in my prime weeb stage and chose an anime song to sing. I didn't know any actual Japanese. I had just memorized the lyrics from hearing the song so many times. Luckily I didn't make it past auditions. But several people saw an overweight girl in a Sailor Moon shirt try to sing Butterfly despite having never done any singing or voice training ever in her life. Nearly 20 years later, and remembering it keeps me awake at night. This was in fucking college. Our bio finals were to present on any topic that was related to biology. A group was presenting on types of protection for sex. Not once did they refer to any body parts or fluids by their scientific names. So, yes, they literally had dick, cum, and pussy on slides and read off them. Everyone kept glancing over at our professor, who had this look like he was just constantly cleaning his glasses because he couldn't believe what he was witnessing. They got Kentucky fucked on grading.
I've told this on Reddit a few times, but it's truly unforgettable. Smart kid in the class was giving a deeply sourced PowerPoint presentation on religion in Europe. He opens up his files, proceeds to click on his project named Ender. He says clearly I wasn't really paying any attention when I named my file. He gives the presentation. He stutters and sweats bullets while we watch in utter disbelief. The word is sitting there on the top of the file heading the whole time. This was during a study abroad semester while attending a cultural communication class. He had to rot in his own shit after that.
This one happened a few months ago only actually. We were in law and entrepreneurship class and we had to make a presentation about a made-up company we would invent, and the two class clowns made their presentation about a drink and their slogan was "If she's drunk she can't say no," and neither of them wanted to read it. They just wanted to skip over it, but the teacher made them read it and asked them to go back to their places. I had never seen someone so calm and angry at the same time. When the class started hesitatingly clapping, the prof said, "Stop, this isn't worth clapping for." The next week, the two of them went around all the classes during the morning reading time to present a video about consent. TLDR. Two idiots made a rape joke in class and the teacher acted accordingly. Edit. Sorry for my English. I meant teacher, not professor. We're still in high school. Someone in my class did a book report on the dictionary. The teacher was pissed. All of us students thought it was hilarious. Never heard the end of the presentation. Two girls in 9th grade sent videos of themselves masturbating to a few boy classmates who obviously passed the videos along. The police came to our school and made a presentation about sex trafficking, child pornography, and extortion. We all had to sign a contract promising to never send nude pictures, as long as we were under 18. The one girl's mom threw up in the school lobby after watching the video that was being sent around.